Good.
And welcome into Press Box Live, presented by the Costas Inn. Now with two great locations at the old location on 4100 North Point Boulevard and the brand new location, about a month old now, at the Timonium Fairgrounds in the right next to the OTB in the grandstand. Really, really nice place and convenient to a lot of people in the Towson, Timonium, Cockeysville area that may have not traveled out to the Costas Inn. You're in store for a good meal at the new Costas Inn, as well as crabs and the whole menu at 4100 North Point Boulevard. We are Stan the Fan Charles of Pressbox, PressBoxOnline.com. Luke Jackson, managing editor of Pressbox and PressBoxOnline.com, and the old left-hander, Ross Grimsley. Ross, how are you, buddy?
Doing well, buddy. Doing well.
I was thinking of you late last night. Somebody posted a picture of about 10 Orioles from 1974, I think it was, at the old Friendship Airport, I guess getting ready for a flight to somewhere. But it
Oh
was
yeah.
quite a crew. Don
Our-
Hood,
our-
Lou Powell, Wayne Garland, Bob Reynolds, Ross Grimsley in there. Quite a crew.
oh, you see our plaid pants? That was a
Yeah.
big thing. In our shoes. I had kind of high heel type shoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were in style, buddy.
You think any shot those plaid pants are back in style?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Oh
Do you
yeah.
still have a pair of those,
But,
Ross?
oh God, no. Those are deep six.
All right.
But you see, we had coat and ties on too.
Yes, we did. Yes, we
That
did.
was one of the things that they insisted, and that was that's what it was supposed to be.
Now, was that an Earl thing or a club thing?
I think it was an Earl thing. I know you heard the story of when Reggie got on the plane and he didn't have a tie on. He had a not a turtleneck, but he had a
mock turtleneck.
A mock sweater. And Earl said, "You're not going on this flight until you go." He went and bought a tie in the airport.
In the airport.
Put it on, and you couldn't even see it because it was covered like this. They covered it. You couldn't even see it, but he went and did it. And that was what we're supposed to do. So
did he complain about that? Was he
no? He did not complain. He went and did it and got it, put it on, even though you couldn't see it. You knew you had it on, but that was.
Was he a good teammate?
You know what? He treated me great. I have nothing but good things to say about him. He was really became a good friend. He had a Porsche and I had a van, and this was back when the CBs came out, and we would talk to each other on the way home. And I forget his handle. My handle was Ragman, and he always, to this day, sometimes he'll see me or he'll drop a Ragman on me, and
Ragman.
That was pretty neat. But yeah,
I like that better than the old left-hander, Luke.
Yeah, throw that on there. Yeah.
All right. Luke, general manager of the ball club, Mike Elias, was on the front office on Sunday with Jim Bowden and Jim Duquette, and basically went public with what we kind of all ascertained, that especially in light of the 4-game losing streak the Orioles had, the last two before the All-Star break and the first two after the break, they're still 10 games under 500. It's been a very disappointing season, and now the club is in not breakdown mode, not total rebuild mode, but they're ready to part company with expiring contracts.
Yeah, I think in your column today you called it repositioning mode.
Yeah,
they're repositioning for 2026, which is a nice spin zone. I like that. I'm going to use that in my life. I'm repositioning myself for something. That's good. He said everything that you would suspect, that they still like their core group, which to me would mean Adley, Gunnar, Holiday, Westberg, and Cowser, along with Felix Bautista and returning Kyle Bradish. Those are the 7 I would assume that he's talking about.
Is that a big enough core group to
No,
really be
probably
counting
not.
on for 2026?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Would you put Lariano in that?
No, I mean, I think that he could come back, but I don't think you would count on him as part of your core group. Now, I should say this, could that core group be good enough next year? Yes, I think they could
If
be,
they
but
all
I don't
played
think
at their peak level.
correct, correct. So, and then he also said they're going to focus on moving out expiring contracts, which is not surprising. And those are the names that we've discussed ad nauseum for the past 6 or so weeks. Uh, I don't suspect that they'll get a ton for those pieces just because you only get them for 2 months. Some of them are a little bit expensive, like Charlie Morton's a little expensive. Zach Eflin's a little expensive. And so there's a money portion there. And then what else did he say? That it has, of course, been a disappointing year, but they want to compete in 2026, and they're going to do everything possible in order to make that happen. And to me, if you like the core group, that means getting a couple of legit starting pitchers at some point. As you mentioned in your column today, Stan, you're going to have to do something about the bullpen because they don't have
Assuming that three of these guys, and I'm assuming that
right,
Kittredge, Soto, and Dominguez, at least two of the three are gone.
right, right. You're absolutely right. And then you're going to have to hope for better health and performance out of a lot of the guys you bring back.
Yeah.
So that there are some ifs there, Stan. There's no doubt about it.
One of the ifs, Ross, is we're talking about these expiring contracts. When does this club ever own up to making a decisive decision on not having a couple players on expiring contracts? In other words, when is the right time? And I grant you that when everybody was jumping on the extension thing 2 and even 3 years ago, I was like, pump your brakes on this. Like, I'm real glad right now we don't have Adley Rutschman on a $300 million contract. But
Yeah, really.
is there a time that a couple of these players start deserving? And I know it's complicated by the fact that Scott Boras has three of the four core guys, Gunner, Jackson Holiday, and Jordan Westbrook.
I obviously a lot of health comes into it, but with Rushman's got 2 more years, I think, of club
Mhm.
control.
Yeah.
I mean, that might say, I think he is a guy. I mean, I don't know. There's a feeling that they could trade him and maybe get something pitching wise that can help in the future.
Mhm.
I don't know, but I think for me, he's part of the core guys. And I really think that, I mean, pitching, like you said, is going to have to be totally changed with a lot of new people. Hopefully, your Bradish, Wells, some of the other guys that are injured can come back. But getting back to the contracts, I think you've got these guys right now for multiple years, and there's not time to do it. But before that, next year with Rushman, he comes out blazing, then maybe you go, wait a minute, maybe we can do something now. Because I think, he's a guy that he showed when he came up that he could do some things. His catching has fell off. Obviously, his hitting. But I think there's something. I mean, you got him for 2 years. You see how he starts off next year. And if he starts off good, then I'd consider doing something with him. Because I think he's going to
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think he's going to end up playing more first base, but then there's another. Then you got Mayo over there.
Yeah.
I mean, now if you move somebody and get a big name at first base or an outfielder, but pitching is the number one thing they got to develop. They're going to have to go out and spend some money for pitchers. I mean, I just don't see any other way. You have nobody coming up.
Right.
That's on the horizon. But they got to start doing something, getting some. I mean, they got 16 pitchers in the draft, but most of them are from Division II schools, which there's nothing. I mean, hey, that could, who knows?
Right.
But the pitching is the number one thing.
Luke, getting back to the contract of, trying to
Mhm.
hook one of these or two of these guys of the core group, is there one that stands out for you? And to me, Rutschman, I'm sure he has some grandiose ideas of his value, but realistically, what do you think you would give him right now? Let's say he was interested in trying to get a 3 year or 4 year deal. What do you think he's worth right now?
Honestly, I wouldn't reciprocate that interest because
Okay,
he's under control for 2 more years, and he's inching toward 30 at this point.
right,
And honestly, it's possible that his best years are already behind him. Yeah, it's also possible that he simply had 500 bad at bats dating back to this time last year, up into his injury, and that will come out the wash as statistical noise. That's possible,
right.
but I would like to see some proof of that before committing. Um,
That
and
would
so
be
I
the
don't,
performance. That would be the performance moving forward
yes.
because all the all the hitting people say that his numbers are misleading. That he's.
I mean,
I
he
don't
did,
see it.
yeah.
I don't see the hard contact.
Yeah, he's not an especially loud hitter, I would say.
No, no.
Uh, so I don't know. The answer is I
I
don't
mean, he's
know.
certainly not worth what Riley's worth.
No, no, no.
And Cal
So,
Riley got like about
and
120,
five hundred, I think
100,
he got six and 105. I don't know if there are any
105.
options attached to that, but that
Boy,
was good timing by Seattle, I'd say.
that looks like an awfully team friendly contract right
But definitely, I mean, I'd probably be a lot less willing to give Adley what I would have been willing to give him a couple years ago.
now.
And this is one of the upsides to not extending guys
Yeah. Yep.
early, is
Yep.
that sometimes they peak early and
Yep.
they don't that linear development path, they don't follow it. And it just so happens that and Adley might be one of these guys who just so happen to have his best years at 24, 25, 26.
Yeah.
And we've seen that before. Nick Markakis was a little bit like that. And but I mean, obviously the Orioles still got their money's worth and then some out of the extension they gave them. But
Yeah.
um,
And
I don't have a good answer
extensions
for you on
weren't
that.
so crazy 10,
Right.
12 years ago.
Right. And so I don't have a good answer for you. And as you mentioned, the three guys that you would be most interested in extending, Henderson, Holiday, and Westbrook, are Boris guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if any one of them would tell Scott to entertain it. Generally speaking, when you hire Scott,
Yeah.
you're not interested in that. And so
Yeah.
the other guy that would leave is Colton Cowser,
And he's
who,
certainly not a guy you're
and you
dying
also
to
have him
extend.
for 4 more years.
Yeah.
And like at the end of that club control, he's almost, 29, 30 years old at that point. And so you're getting the best portion of his career, which is one of the upsides of drafting a lot of college players, is that you don't feel the need to necessarily extend them past their club control because you get their best years. You're getting
Now,
them.
one more group of players before we take the break and talk about the Costas in. Ian Kramer and Trevor Rogers.
Mm,
Would you have some interest in both of those, locking them down for say the next 3 years?
not really. You have Dean for 2 more years, and he's a very solid, like number four-ish type of starter, and there's a lot of value to that. I wouldn't be. Uh, and then with Rogers, you've gotten 40 terrific innings out of him so far this year,
Mhm.
and that's really it. And so I wouldn't be particularly gung ho about extending either of those guys. And so,
Ross, that leads me to a question. When can you pull the trigger? In other words, Rogers right now might be very interested in a contract that plays out favorably, say a 3 year, $30 million deal, because he's never made any real money. And if you play the waiting game with Trevor Rogers and he's outstanding next year, then all of a sudden he's a $25 million
he's a
guy.
big time free agent at that point.
How many more years they got him?
They got him
A
for
year and
one
a half.
more year after this.
Yeah.
One more year. So that's something you consider. But I mean, he takes off next year and
I mean,
pitches. Or he finished
he's a $75 million 3-year guy.
possible. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And
But
so,
I
yeah,
mean,
that's a great point. And with the injuries that he's been through, is that a gamble that you take on someone like him that,
How about him taking the gamble? In other words, would he, Ross, if you were in his position and you've never made big money, and now you got the chance of a 3-year, $33 million contract, maybe with the fourth year with a mutual option for 20 million, would you consider taking that deal if
I'd
you're
jump all over it. I mean, I'd be
the
all over it. I mean, it's insurance for you and your family, basically.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's actually shown that he can do a pretty good job, but this is a small sample size.
Yes,
of
it is.
that.
Yes, it is.
And,
so
But you
would
had
it,
a sample size that allowed that made you think that he was worth it to give up two decent prospects. Although the club probably had soured on Stowers, they still thought Norby was a decent prospect. By the way,
so,
he's injured now.
well, yeah. So wouldn't it be ironic if the first Elias draft pick to sign an extension was Kyle Stowers, and the first player that Elias actually signed to an extension was Trevor Rogers?
Yeah,
See?
that would be interesting. That would be interesting. Hey, guys, can I get your thumbs up?
Thumbs are up.
Thumbs are up. That means it's time to talk about the Costas Inn because our thumbs are always up for the Costas Inn. And again, two great locations. If you want your steamed crabs, they're still available at 4100 North Point Boulevard. Take this phone number down, 410-477-1975, because you need to call in advance to make sure they've got the size you want, the price point you want, and the availability you want if you're planning a nice little crab party. The Costas Inn now at Timonium, right above the grandstand, right off the OTB, is available now 7 days a week for lunch and dinner. No crabs there, but the same great Costas value, same great Costas quality, and the same great quality service that you get at the Costas Inn. All there, where we give them 6 thumbs up on this show. 6 thumbs up for both Costas Inn. All right. Try the new Costas Inn if you've never experienced Costas Inn. It's close by Timonium. It's right in the heart of Timonium, Cockeysville, and Towson. Those areas, and you won't regret it. Seriously. All right, guys. Luke, I turn to you with the injury updates. Can you give us some injury updates on some current Orioles, most notably Kyle Bradish, who I think is going to throw Thursday night at Aberdeen?
That is correct. And I am hoping to make it out to Aberdeen that night to see him pitch because it's been a while since I've seen Kyle Bradish pitch, and I want to see him pitch because he's fun to watch. Ross has always been talking about this year. Boy, they really miss those power arms in their rotation. Well, he's one of them. And I'm hoping that he can get about 60 innings under his belt this year and to really put him in a nice position to have a decent workload next year because boy, do they need him. He's
What
one of
would
the most.
that what would that workload, Ross, look like next year if he's able to get 50 or 60 innings in this year? Are you looking at 120 innings at the major league level would be about the right number?
it's possible. I mean, one of the things you just got to be really, really careful, and they're going to have to get back to pitching and changing speeds and not try to blow the ball by everybody, because I mean he has another problem, and that's the chances of coming back from that are about 50% after your first Tommy John. So yeah, it's I mean. It's just a scary thing, and you just don't know how guys are going to react. So I mean, you just got to take your time and just do all the little things to get them along. But you got to pitch them. That's the thing. You can't give them a week and a half off and start them another week and a half, and they'll break down again. That's you got to get on a regular a regular routine and just take it as it comes.
Ross, we talked last week, and Luke brought it up again tonight that Grayson Rodriguez has been shut down again. Where do you go with him, right?
Well, it's elbow now. It was
Right.
shoulder before, and I mean he's missed a lot of time.
I mean,
And
are we looking at the magic cure, the Tommy John, where he's going to be
that's-
out all of next year and part of
I mean,
27?
that very possible. I mean that they're going to have to do something because every time he starts rehabbing and throwing on the side, he comes up with another elbow, a lat, or whatever the hell it's.
I have
it
to
is.
imagine at this point there's an underlying cause to all
Sure.
this, and maybe it is that elbow, and and if it does go down the road that Stan was unfortunately talking about, you're talking about him missing 2.5 years of pitching, and
Yeah.
I
In
can't,
his
off the
prime.
top of my head, I can't remember anybody who missed 2.5 years
Really.
and came back to start.
Yeah.
But I would have
It's
to
really
imagine.
tough.
I would have to imagine that at this point, whenever he comes back, it's probably going to be as a reliever, I would think.
And that would be and you're not going to pitch every day as a reliever if you got that situation. But I mean, he's a guy, a big, strong guy, and obviously, he's got several different areas: shoulder, elbow, back,
And he's
lat,
got that
whatever.
rat back there.
Yeah, I mean you got one thing pops up after another. That's just not a really good sign. The arm is not made to throw the way these guys are throwing.
And the other thing is that apparently he's tried to tinker with his delivery to take some pressure off of that lat. And I would have to imagine if you tinker with your delivery, one of the risks that you're running is that
It
perhaps
goes
your
somewhere
elbow,
else.
perhaps your
No.
elbow doesn't like the new delivery.
Well, really, I mean, you're changing something that you've never done, and as far as I really wouldn't change a delivery unless it was he was doing something incorrect that could possibly affect your arm, shoulder, and what have you. But I mean, it gets back to pitching. You can't try to spin the ball as hard as you can every time. You can't try to throw max effort fastballs. The arm is not made to do that. I mean, where guys, geez, years ago, you had guys pitching 300 innings with 40 starts, giving you 6, 7, 8, 9 innings, an outing, 17, 18 or more complete games. How the hell did they do that? You pitched. You didn't try to blow. You didn't try. One of the biggest problems is the best defense in baseball now is the swing and miss.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can get guys to swing and miss, nobody puts the ball in play.
And Ross, we know what kind of velocity, spins, and shapes gets those engenders those swings and misses, right? And kids are chasing those velocity, spins, and shapes earlier and earlier now.
Yeah, and I tell you, more young kids are having Tommy John surgery, which is absolutely awful.
And here's one for you. So the average major league velocity is about 94 miles an hour. You know what the average SEC velocity was this past year?
No telling.
About 92. So pretty close. Get it like that SEC average velo is getting close to the major league.
Big league velo.
Yeah, I tell you, a lot of guys in the past, as a coach in pitching, guys that injure their arms because they're trying to throw the ball harder than they need to try to throw it. It's a max. You max effort, and as much as they max effort now, it's just an injury waiting to happen. I mean, as far you try to throw the greatest curveball in the first pitch, well, that's ridiculous. I mean, get me over curveball first pitches. They're not going to swing at it most of the time anyway, But it gets back to pitching. Nobody's teaching. It's just throw, get them to swing and miss, and go from there. Pretty soon, there's not going to be very many pitchers left. I mean, they need to get back to pitching and changing speeds and not trying to throw the ball 100 miles an hour because it just. I mean, I got a thing where pitchers averaging 96 miles an hour over a 5-year period that do 600 pitches, 4-seam fastballs in a year, 21 of them of your top power guys had Tommy John surgery, and Rodriguez was one of the guys on that list. He hadn't had it yet, but you throw that speed, you're having some problems.
Luke, so far we've only gotten through the two names, Rodriguez and Bradish. What else do we know? Cade Povich, Albert Suarez,
Cade
Tyler
Povich is out.
Wells.
Cade Povich is out on a rehab. I think Albert Suarez, I'm not sure. I don't think he's out on a rehab yet.
Povich is pitching. He pitched in AAA.
Yes,
On
recently,
the
like
19th,
this
and
weekend.
he's supposed to pitch again, I think, on the 24th,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. I saw that.
And then Tyler Wells is getting it cranked up right now in Florida.
Okay.
Adley Rutschman is going to rehab with Norfolk starting on Tuesday. So
How
he's
about
getting
Keegan
close.
Aiken?
He started his rehab in Florida with the FCL team today.
Okay.
Today being Monday, so he's getting close as well. And they could certainly use another reliable left-hander in their bullpen. So,
We missing anybody? Mountcastle's still 4 or 5 weeks away.
no, I think Mountcastle's hitting down in Florida. He might be on his way to Norfolk. I'm not positive on that one. So he's coming along. Suarez, I don't think he has begun any sort of rehab, like official rehab yet. I think he's still a ways away.
And
The shoulder,
Sanchez is probably out for the season, right?
I would imagine so.
And Mateo's out for the season.
I'd imagine so.
All right.
And now, if you're either of those guys, I think it would be well within your interest to try to get back and show potential employers that
Oh,
you finished the
Eflin.
season.
Eflin is who we have.
Yeah, Eflin should be back very soon. And so I don't know if he's going to end up pitching a game in Cleveland or not, but he should be back soon.
He'll probably start against Colorado. That's my guess.
Soft landing spot.
Let me look up because we're just about an hour as we start as we finish up tonight. MLB lineups. Let's see if the Oriole lineup is finally released. Jackson Holiday, Jordan Westberg, Gunnar Henderson, Ryan O'Hearn, Ramon Laureano, Colton Cowser, Tyler O'Neill, Cedric Mullins, and Mr. Jackson will be catching. Tamayuki Sagano, Tanner Bybee will be supported by Stephen Kwan, Angel Martinez, Jose Ramirez, Kyle Manzardo, Carlos Santana, Nolan Jones, what's Schneeman? Daniel Schneeman? Daniel Schneeman?
Mm-hmm.
Second baseman, Brayan Rocchio, the shortstop, and Bo Naylor, the catcher. Game time 6:40 on Masson 2, the first of 4 games from Cleveland versus the Guardian. All right, that's going to wrap things up for this week. Let's remind you that next week we will not be doing, Luke and I will be attending the Mike Loxley yearly barbecue for the media and staff members. And we won't be here Monday. Ross is traveling Tuesday, and the timing is such that the deadline is Thursday, the 31st. I think we might do something about 10 o'clock that night on the 31st. That's what I think. Because
Yeah,
I'll be
so
at
at some point,
I'll be at the ballpark. We'll
okay.
do something. We'll do something.
31st is an off day for the Orioles.
Oh, okay. Then we can
So
do
we
it
could do it right after the deadline.
Okay, we'll do it then. Okay. That's going to do it for today. Again, if you haven't tried the new Costas at the OTB and the grandstand at Timonium Racecourse, you're in for a treat. Great Costas quality, service, and value there. And again, old location is not going anywhere, and that's where you still want to go for your crabs. 410-477-1975. For Luke Jackson, the old left-hander, Ross Grimsley, I'm Stan the Fan Charles. We'll see you down the road pretty soon.